Burglaries on the island of Virgin Gorda, and Mr. George Floyd is laid to death. These and so much more when 284 News returns.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome everybody. It's Friday, June 5th, 2020, a fantastic Friday that is in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Javon Wilson. So happy to be joining you once again for another great edition of 284 News. Now, it has been a really busy week for us here at 284 Media, Ron. Definitely. Some burglaries in Virgin Gorda.
Yeah, information reaching our newsroom have confirmed 2 burglaries on Virgin Gorda that occurred late last evening, June 4th, and early this morning, June 5th, 2020. The businesses Joy Mini Mart and Speedy's business office were the latest targets in a string of robberies and burglaries that have been taking place over the past months on the sister island of Virgin Gorda. Now, it is unclear if the perpetrators took off with any cash or any other valuables. Investigations are ongoing, and we will have more to come on this story as we continue. We want to employ and encourage our business persons to continue to safeguard their properties as best they can, just in an effort to stay as safe as possible.
Definitely, especially now that we're dealing with a pandemic and persons are seemingly very desperate. And that's one of the negative things, of course, coming out of times
Very
like
unfortunate. Topping our newscast today, a press release received from the CB Rumney Tortola Pier Park today confirmed that some 94 local shareholders, as the Tortola Pier Park Limited, have been approved to issue dividends for 2018. The CB Rumney Tortola Pier Park Board, supported by the BVI Ports Authority, which is the parent company of the Tortola Pier Park, recognized the importance of dividends being remitted to shareholders and accordingly have approved the payment of 2018 dividends in the amount of $529,974. The payment date is stated for Monday, June 8, 2020. The largest investor, which is the BVI Social Security Board, will receive $442,500. These payouts come at a very crucial time when the BVI is still navigating turbulent times as a result of the economic consequences of COVID-19, and while also moving forward towards 90% recovery as a result of the 2017 physical ramifications to the facilities due to the hurricanes of 2017. In a generous gesture, the board of Tortola Pier Park BVI Limited have also offered the following concessions on rent obligations for eligible tenants. April will be free 100% discount, May 75% off, June 75% off. Additionally, the CEO, Mr. Vance Lewis, said in a statement, and I quote, "As we navigate this fast-changing COVID-19 environment, we are pleased that we could be in a position to assist the government of the Virgin Islands in their endeavor to ensure that the most vulnerable in our society receive the necessary attention by paying the 2018 dividends, recognizing that the BVI Social Security Board is the majority preference shareholder." He further stated that he is appreciative to the Tortola Pier Park Board for consenting to the rent obligation concessions to the CB Rumney Tortola Pier Park tenants, considering the shifting landscape of conducting business. The Tortola Pier Park has undertaken a number of cost-saving initiatives managed in collaboration with the Tortola Pier Park and their tenants, local agencies, and the Tortola Pier Park team. Now, a statutory solvency test was conducted to allow for a sensible buffer for working capital. For updates and information on the Tortola Pier Park Limited, follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Tortola Pier or Twitter at Tortola Pier Park. The website, tortolapierpark.com, is currently under construction and a relaunch is anticipated in the following weeks. Now, if you don't know, the Tortola Pier Park is a major development in the British Virgin Islands, which consists of an enhanced cruise pier and a 5-acre landslide of shopping facility. The newly enhanced pier facility includes 60 feet wide, 1,312 feet long pier that can berth ships up to a maximum tonnage of 180,000. The Landslide Shopping Center consists of over 60 stores, including retail, service providers, commercial space, and office space. It's also one of the spots that a lot of us locals love to hang out and enjoy ourselves. So we are excited by this great news coming out of the Tortola Pier Park, and I'm happy to see that not only the dividends are going to be handed out, but our tenants, the tenants most importantly, business owners, are going to get major relief.
And definitely some much needed relief.
Yes.
We know that the tenants, if we admit it, Ron, the Tortola Pier Park is primarily dependent on the tourist dollars. You don't find a majority of the locals really frequenting the Tortola Pier Park to support the businesses out there. And so with the tourist season shut tight, they really took a hit. And one of the first things we wanted to know here at 284 Media, of course, just following the pandemic, is how are these tenants going to survive the shifting climate? We did reach out, and I'm so happy to see this information coming forward. But even with all of this, Ron, you know, much needed relief for the tenants, but you have to look at the other end of things. This dividend that was paid out was due to be paid out regardless. So it was going to be paid out. But if you're paying dividends and you're also cutting revenue, the question remains, is the Pier Park also looking at ways to cut expenses as well? Because you have to ensure that this is still a viable entity at the end of the day. So we have to also look into that to see how the Pier Park will be managing that aspect, of course, to remain operational as we try to survive COVID-19.
It is a business, and at the end of the day, the point of it is to stay in business and to be a benefit, a profitable benefit. So your questions and concerns are absolutely noted.
Our viewers will try to get those questions answered, but for now, more good news. The BVI Tourist Board launched its 2020 staycation program on June 3rd. That was last Wednesday, and is set to run up until October of this year. Now, residents can take advantage of the many discounts offered by the tourism industry partners and enjoy the BVI's beautiful 60 islands and keys right in your own backyard. Persons can choose from a selection of accommodations, health and wellness tours, yacht charters, and water and land activities offered through the BVI Tourist Board's annual staycation program. Now, the regional marketing manager, Ms. Renisia Scatliff, beautiful young woman, she said, quote, "A BVI staycation provides the relief of knowing that an escape from our daily routines not only provides endless fun and relaxation, but a reassurance of being able to do so safely." End of quote. There is something for everyone to enjoy. More than ever, the tourism industry is depending on us as we are depending on the industry, she said. This was further supported by the acting director of the tourism, BVI Tourist Board, that is Mr. Rodney Skelton, who said, quote, "Over the years, we have seen our BVI prove itself to be nothing short of resilient. The unwavering spirit of our people, culture, and the preserved beauty of our 60 islands and keys brings the warm feeling of being in paradise." Residents are encouraged to take part in this year's BVI staycation program and, of course, to unlock the treasure chest of secrets that constantly draws our guests to these shores. Let's explore our home and share with our family and friends abroad until they can come and visit again. Now, the Tourist Board's staycation program comes as a breath of fresh air, and I'm sure many agree with that, Ron, especially in light of the fact that we are dealing with a pandemic. So it comes as a breath of fresh air to many residents across the territory. What better way to unwind from the stress of the most recent unprecedented events than to explore and indulge in some of the most beautiful treasures in the place we are able to call home. From Yas Van Dyke all the way to Anegada, residents can now rejuvenate and discover the gems of nature's little secrets. For more information on the staycation packages, you can visit the BVI Tourist Board website, that is bvistaycation.com. Again, that is bvistaycation.com. Or you can check them out on Facebook at BVI Staycation. Ron, I personally could not wait to hear this.
I know you're going to be excited.
I'm super excited for this, but as is the rest of the BVI, a lot of persons, even for persons who don't usually indulge, have been yearning for the opportunity to get out, to interact, and to just enjoy the beauty and the essence of the British Virgin Islands. I know recently government, of course, would have permitted the hospitality-related businesses to reopen. There was some amount of allocation within our economic stimulus plan as well to aid some of these businesses, but with the industry coming to a halt, I know this is great news. And again, this is our opportunity to get out, to enjoy. And I know for sure as well that this will pump some dollars back into the hospitality industry.
One of the things that I'm excited to hear about with this initiative is it gives us another opportunity to not only share the money locally, but we also get to explore.
Yes.
My staycation queen next to me, I must have to ask you though, what would be the first any particular islands that you would do a staycation?
I've been really wanting to touch Anegada, the ABC Villas. There's so much to explore around. There's so much to go around. But what I love about this is that every single year, I mean, this is nothing new to the BVI. Every single year, all the relevant hospitality-related businesses, they come together to offer locals these specials. And I think it's important because when it comes to tourism and, it being a product, you have to, in order to sell it, you must know it. You must feel it. You must experience it. And what better way to do it than at a discounted rate? So really happy about this, viewers. Still ahead, CARICOM to monitor the election in St. Kitts, and a lot more coming from the George Floyd story. Stick with us.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Now on the regional scene, the Caribbean community, at the invitation of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, is fielding a CARICOM election observation mission to monitor today's general elections in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. According to CARICOM, the 3-member mission will be headed by Gasper Jean-Baptiste, Chief Elections Officer of St. Lucia, who has served as chief member of the CARICOM election observation missions to other CARICOM member states. Now, the other members are Arlie Gale and Chester Arlington Humphrey, both from Grenada. In a statement, CARICOM stated, and I quote, "The CARICOM election observation mission proposes to meet with the electoral office officials, leaders of the political parties and other stakeholders of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and will monitor the voting process, including the opening of the polls, the casting of votes, the closing of the polls, and the counting of ballots." The members of the observation mission arrived in St. Kitts and Nevis on Wednesday and will depart on this Sunday, June 7th. The election observation mission will issue a preliminary statement based on its observations and findings. Now, a report on the general elections will be subsequently prepared and submitted to the Secretary General of the Caribbean Community. For CARICOM, election observation serves as a platform to support existing demographic platforms and traditions within the Caribbean community as part of the wider policy for supporting democracy and good governance. The Caribbean Secretary General said that in this regard, at the request of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, virtual training and election observation for a group of local election observers was conducted. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris and his team Unity Coalition is up against the main opposition, St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, headed by former Prime Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas. For the 11 seats, 8 in St. Kitts and 3 in Nevis are at stake. Now, election observers are nothing new for the region, and they serve again as a foundation for election transparency and suggestion for future election processes. We have had them here in the Virgin Islands as well on many occasions. Observers usually present detailed findings on what worked and what didn't work, following the territories, encouraging the territories to make changes moving forward. Now, today's federal election in St. Kitts ends a short but intense campaign run for candidates. Residents of the Federation had just about 3 weeks to decide where they would put their support amidst COVID-19. Now, throughout the campaign process, Jovan, we saw some very interesting behavior by not only residents but party leaders themselves. One resident woke up to her house being marked with graffiti from with the initials Pam, which clearly seemed to be done because she did not support said party, which you saw on the screen just now, as you can see being displayed. And then a very iconic campaign standoff between both leaders, the Honorable Member Dr. Denzel Douglas, as well as Prime Minister Timothy Harris.
Yes.
Take a look at this standoff, and we're going to get into it afterwards. Now, Jovan, as juvenile as these videos are, they speak to the very intense nature, I think, of the political landscape in some Caribbean countries. While many found it amusing, others have wondered what precedents this behavior sets for residents when leaders conduct themselves in such a manner. Ultimately, we wish the residents of the Federation of St. Kitts and in Nevis a safe and violent-free election process today. But what are your thoughts? Very amusing for many, but a couple things come into play. How we do elections in the BVI is quite different to how election takes place
and we
in
should
a lot
consider
of
ourselves blessed.
Absolutely. It's different from how a lot of other Caribbean islands conduct themselves. And it's different to see. What are your thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, no matter what, we have to hold our leaders accountable, especially the ones that will be leading the charge. And we have to, they literally have to set the pace.
Absolutely.
That type of behavior is uncalled for when
unacceptable.
you're set to be the leader of any jurisdiction. And again, we are blessed in the BVI to be able to be home to a safe campaigning atmosphere, electoral process, because even within the region, I'm from Guyana, and I can tell you that it gets pretty hectic and sometimes very dangerous because there's a lot of inciting happening and division happening at the charge of these leaders. So again, I'm really happy to see the CARICOM body. I know just recently they were also in Guyana to help with the electoral process as well. And it's very integral as it relates to the transparency of the processes. And especially now in light of COVID-19 and persons not being able to necessarily fly back at their leisure to vote, which is a big part of the rigging process, or we consider elections. Really happy to see that there will be an overseeing body to ensure that everything goes well.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned, Jovan, which brings us to a story that we're going to be covering later on, is the fact that there have been alleged 3 killings in St. Kitts that have been election-related. And again, that brings to in mind the seriousness of these incidents and the emotions that run. Now, the present Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, came up with a very interesting approach where he basically pays criminals, pay for peace. So the violence in St. Kitts and Nevis has been skyrocketed for a very long time. And it's now transcended, but it's because of an initiative, Pay for Peace, where he literally pays the gangsters to keep peace. And it's a very interesting approach.
Very interesting.
I don't know what happens when the money runs out or when you don't have any money, but we're going to follow this story, particularly as it pertains to his approach and how he decided to kind of maneuver that.
All right, viewers, back to the attentions of our ministers. Our Minister of Labor and Natural Resources, Honorable Vincent Whitley, has made a sizable donation of $10,000 in tuition grants to private schools on the island of Virgin Gorda. The 9th District representative expressed that there is usually little to no consideration for private institutions. He said, quote, "Now, as we know that the public schools are usually funded by government, and oftentimes the private schools, who are sometimes more in need than the public schools, are left out." End of quote. It was on that premise, viewers, that Minister Whitley reached out to the at-large representatives and corporate BVI, of course, who through a collaborative effort were able to donate the monies to the Siboney Center for Excellence, Valley Day School, the Sunshine Daycare and Preschool, and also the Little Rainbow School as well. The minister expressed that the funds were allocated based on pressing needs. He said, quote, "They were distributed according to the needs of the school and the school's population." Now, the contributions, viewers, will assist parents who are unable to pay their school fees and purchase the necessary equipment to facilitate online learning. The grants were, interestingly, also named after prominent Virgin Islanders, Ron, who served the territory, as advised by the Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley. The grants were made in the memories of Honorable Ralph T. O'Neill, OBE, Mr. Winston A. Reimer, Mrs. Barbara Titley O'Neill, and Edwin Speedy George, 4 outstanding citizens who would have impacted the Virgin Gorda community as we know it and, of course, influenced lives. Now, in an invited comment, Minister of Education Dr. Wheatley said, quote, I am pleased that the representative of the 9th District, along with the territorial at-large members, have secured a donation of $10,000 to the private schools. I am aware that private schools have been having a very difficult time in the COVID-19 era, and this donation will assist with their colleagues. The education of our children must be a collective effort, end of quote. Now, the Education Minister also further appealed to the wider community to step up and assist. He said, quote, I welcome other district representatives, community-minded individuals and organizations and businesses to assist private schools given their unique challenges, as well as public school where there is a recognized need, he said. Now, viewers, the donations were made on Tuesday, June 2nd. Ron, pretty great story coming out.
Very good news
of
for
the island of Virgin Gorda. We know there was, well, generally, public schools are covered under the responsibilities of government. But like the minister said, there's little to no consideration for private schools. And especially in light of the pandemic, there have been a lot of challenges. I mean, Absolutely. I've been speaking to a few principals across the territory. A lot of parents have had challenges with jobs lost, with reduced salaries, just overall the impact, the economic impact of COVID-19, having difficulties paying those school fees, a lot of parents as well, a lot of students, without the necessary equipment. So this donation definitely comes at a great time. And we're also, again, appealing to corporate BVI to step in and to adopt maybe a school, maybe a few students.
This is a time that corporate BVI should come through and step up to the plate. I could not agree more. But it's very nice and heartwarming to see the minister really looking out for the private enterprises. Many would argue, was it his money? Was it the government's money? But at the end of the day, I think in the final analysis, it proves a point where he is able to reach out in that regard to the schools over there.
And we all have a few friends we can reach out to. Like the minister said, I'm calling my friends. I'm going to make sure they, they play a part in this. And we too can do that, viewers. Still ahead, George Floyd, was laid to rest. And, beautiful memorial to celebrate his death. All that and so much more when we return.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. As we begin to wind down, Republic Bank Holdings Limited is pleased to announce that it has completed its acquisition of Scotiabank's operation in the British Virgin Islands effective May 31st, 2020. Now, this follows approval from the Central Bank of Tobago and the Financial Services Commission of the British Virgin Islands, as well as the executive of the General Banking License here in the BVI. Now, the acquisition will add 51 team members to the Republic Bank's staff complement of approximately 6,077. At the end of October 2019, the BVI operation reported total assets of $568.5 million in profits of about $14.6 million. Now, based on those numbers, the total asset base of the Republic Group will increase to approximately $50.5 billion. Now, expressing his appreciation to all those who contributed to the successful completion of the transaction, which was originally announced in November of 2019, the president and CEO of the group, Mr. Nigel Baptiste, said, quote, "I would like to express my thanks to the regulators and the government of the British Virgin Islands for their expressions of confidence in the group. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the staff of both the Republic Bank family and Scotiabank who worked tirelessly to make today a reality. I assure all of the group's stakeholders that their confidence and efforts are not misplaced and that the group is looking forward to creating a tremendous value here in the BVI," end of quote. Mr. Baptiste also welcomed all new team members and concluded by saying, quote, "The Republic Bank Group is built on our people since we believe that this is what differentiates us from other financial institutions. It was important to us that the people behind the success of Scotiabank's operation in the BVI continued to be in the main seat, the main drivers of the success of our new operations. I am very pleased to welcome each and every one of them to the Republic family, and I look forward to their growth and ours in the years and decades to come." Now, that was the managing director of the Republic Bank Holdings Group. Ron, we've had the pleasure as well, viewers, to speak to the local managing director, Mrs. Marion Blyden, in an exclusive interview, just to discuss all the details. I know there are a lot of questions. I know persons who are clients or customers, at Scotiabank currently, they're worried about the transition period. So all of those details will be discussed in an interview that is due to air sometime later today, viewers. But nevertheless, we just want to congratulate and welcome the new Republic brand to the BVI.
Wonderful. Now, out of Minneapolis, a mural honoring George Floyd was projected above his golden coffin, where mourners knelt and cried. They paused and prayed yesterday, Thursday, June 4th, at his memorial service. It's a simple message, says, "I can breathe now." That message says, "I can breathe now." But for far too long, many Black Americans' dreams have been dashed and goals not achieved because they still cannot breathe. Reverend Al Sharpton, who eulogized Floyd in Minneapolis on Thursday, said, and I quote, "The reason we could never be who we wanted and dreamed to be is you kept your knee on our neck," Sharpton said in reference to Floyd's May 25th arrest, during which a white Minneapolis police officer pressed his knee into the handcuffed Black man's neck several minutes even before Floyd stopped moving and pleaded for air. Sharpton continued by saying, "What happened to Floyd happens every day in this country. It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our neck." Floyd's memorial service was a send-off that his family felt he deserved. They paid heartfelt tribute to the man they affectionately called Perry, with many Minneapolis top elected leaders in the room, along with members of Congress. The service included strong calls for meaningful change in policing and the criminal justice system. During the eulogy remark, Sharpton revealed plans to hold a commemorative march on Washington in August of this year as part of a push for federal policing reform. He said, "When we fight for the George Floyds of the world, and more importantly, the unknown George Floyds of the world, we are helping America to be America for all Americans," he said. Floyd's family attorney Ben Crump, who list of the names of other Americans, men who had been killed by police officers, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who represents Floyd's native Houston and attended the service, said she had lawmakers on Thursday introduced police accountability legislation named after Floyd. The measure calls for improved training for police departments and standards of how to use the deadly force of misconduct, which is being investigated, among other aims. Now, we have to put a stop sign in front of America, she said. There will be no more unhicked killing by police. Jackson led and told the Associated Press, "I will never forget the words, I can't breathe. America cannot allow people to die in the 21st century." She was among dozens of other politicians, celebrities, civil rights activists, and family members of Floyd who sang Amazing Grace, prayed, and joined together in a rousing memorial that was a celebration for a man whose death at the hands of police has sparked protests nationwide and calls for an end to racial injustice. Inside the service held at the Frank J. Lindquist Sanctuary, North Central University, mourners wore masks, some with with the words "I can't breathe" on them, organizers issued several reminders for attendees to keep some social distance. Many attendees bumped elbows rather than hug or shake hands at the memorial taking place in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Jovan, a lot of celebrities came out. T.I., we had Tyrese Gibson, as well as Kevin Hart and other comedians just showing support, as well as Martin Luther King III was there, who has pushed for civil rights amongst us for many years. We see where this is a painful reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that we still have a long way to go globally in this fight, and it's sad to see, but he has been laid to rest and given quite the send-off.
Definitely. And today, Ron, we are celebrating a really big justice in the death of George Floyd as well. Today, for the very first time, viewers, negotiators for the city of Minneapolis today agreed with the state to ban the use of chokeholds by police.
Indeed.
And of course to require those police officers to report and intervene every time they see the unauthorized use of chokeholding by any other officer. Now, this is what people have been pushing for. This is why we were standing in solidarity across the world. There is need for police reform that will protect the black individual, in our community, not just in the United States, but across the world. And I think I'm so happy, and I know it must come as some level of relief to the family and friends, to the world who is truly mourning the death of Mr. George Floyd, because again, enough is enough. Like
that right there, Jovan, that took place, that's key. That is probably the most important in maneuvering this, so I'm very happy to hear that.
Yes, viewers, and a lot to go over, but we are out of time for today. You can follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com, and also on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI, on Instagram as well as Twitter. But before we go, viewers, we have to invite you to join Miss Deborah, Miss Umi Fashions, of course, you know, the usual fashion show at 5, but we're doing it at 7 p.m. tonight, BVI style, this time around, a full moon, right?
Good stuff.
On her rooftop, exclusively. So viewers, be sure to tune in to Umi Fashions on Facebook, 7 p.m., not 5-ish, not 5 o'clock, 7 p.m. sharp tonight, to get your fashion exclusives from Miss Fashionista herself, Miss Debbie. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. We'll see you on Monday as we deliver you more of your daily dose of local, regional, and of course international content. We're 284 Media, here live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Have a happy Friday, everybody. Bye-bye.